This show is brought to you by
Microsoft inks MoUs to accelerate AI adoption in Qatar, and the S&P and Nasdaq surged to a 14-month high. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Microsoft, in collaboration with Qatar's Ministry of Communications and IT, have wrapped up their Rise with Microsoft AI event, during which a number of MoUs were signed. One is between Sprinklr and Microsoft. It will empower the Civil Service and Government Development Bureau's Sharik platform with the GPT capabilities of Azure OpenAI service. Microsoft also signed an MoU with Vodafone. It will leverage the power of Microsoft digital contact center technologies to revolutionize Vodafone's customer experience. The event showcased the potential of AI to help Qatar advance its digital economy. Staying with Qatar, it plans to invest $5 billion in various sectors in Iraq, with the two countries signing a number of investment and energy deals. It comes as Baghdad revives its ties with the GCC following decades of war and crises. MoUs were inked with the Qatari private sector on energy, electricity, and the development of hotels, residential buildings, and hospital management in Iraq. They also discussed a project to link the Gulf Electrical Interconnection System to the southern Iraq network. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq surged overnight to close at their highest level in 14 months. Both indices, as well as the Dow, gained more than 1%. Investors are celebrating economic data that showed U.S. retail sales unexpectedly rose in May, and inflation is easing. They're also betting the Fed is nearing the end of its aggressive interest rate hike campaign. Apple and Microsoft closed at record highs. Apple rose 1.1%, while Microsoft rallied 3.2%. Meta rose by 3.1%. And those gains are reflected in today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking, which tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's wealthiest people. Our second biggest winner today is Mark Zuckerberg. He's up $3 billion with net wealth of $100 billion. Our biggest winner, though, was Oracle's Larry Ellison, up $4.6 billion, and now with net wealth of $157.2 billion. And our third place winner is LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, up $2.7 billion with net wealth of $105.9 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest billionaires news. Four major Western banks have cut their 2023 GDP growth forecast for China after May data showed a post-COVID recovery is faltering. UBS, Standard Chartered, Bank of America, and JP Morgan now expect China's GDP growth to be between 5.2 and 5.7% this year, down from an earlier range of 5.7 to 6.3%. China's economy stumbled in May, with industrial output and retail sales growth missing forecasts. The government has set a modest GDP growth target of around 5% for this year. Russian oil revenues plunged 50% in the first 5 months of this year compared to 2022, according to U.S. officials. To restrict Moscow's revenue while making sure it keeps supplying the global market, the G7, the EU, and Australia set a price cap of $60 a barrel for Russian crude in December. U.S. officials say the drop occurred despite the fact that Russia is exporting more crude oil today than it did at the onset of the war. Britain intends to keep at least one coal-fired power station in operation this winter, despite working to phase out the fossil fuel. Officials say the government plans to eliminate coal in the UK's power mix by the end of 2024, ahead of its target of achieving net zero on carbon emissions by 2050. But supply shocks linked to Russia's war have forced the retention of older fuels for the time being, and this week operators started burning coal for the first time in 6 weeks. And the U.S. Department of Energy and several other federal agencies are the latest to be hit by a global hacking campaign. Hackers exploited a vulnerability in widely used file transfer software, MoveIt Transfer. Shell, the University System of Georgia, the Johns Hopkins University, and the Johns Hopkins Health System were also hit. The new victims add to a growing list of entities in the U.S., Britain, and other countries. The Russia-linked extortion group C10P is allegedly behind these attacks. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
This show is brought to you by